So I've been working on this desk setup that you can see behind me here for a long time. If you've been watching this channel for my usual camera content, you've seen this corner of the room change many times, as I have a compulsive need for change. And I think I've kind of started to settle with somewhere that I'm pretty happy with, and I thought I would share it with you guys today. So as you saw in the title, we are doing a giveaway, and that is for a Sony ZV-E10 with a kit lens to be sent to one of you amazing subscribers as a big thank you for us hitting 10,000 subs on the channel. This is the camera that got me going, and it's the camera that has continued to be one of the most popular things on my channel, so I want to give one of them away. But we'll have more details on that at a random point throughout the video, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing so you can hear how to get involved. So let's go ahead and break down everything we see here on this desk setup, starting with the paneling on the back of the wall. Now, I really do want to try out I think it's the Wood Veneer Hub has started this new trend of using this wood paneling style of accent wall. It looks really nice, and it is acoustically treated. It's like a thin layer of felt with some wooden slats on it. And as much as that is cool, right? I've got like an 8-foot section here, and it was going to cost me like $600 or more to fill up that whole section, and I just didn't want to spend that sort of money. So while I was at Lowe's getting some materials to build up the desk, I came across these giant panels that are 4x8 that look exactly the same, right? They just look the same as the Wood Veneer Hubs ones from a distance. Now, if you get up close, you're going to notice they're super thin. They aren't good for acoustic treatment, but if you're filming something that's just on camera or just to look good in the room and you're not super worried about that, the rest of this whole studio is incredibly well acoustically treated, so I'm not too concerned about this one corner. I thought it worked great, and they were $48 for a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet of it. Getting two of them, slap them up on the wall and just stick them on there, and you're done. Now, sitting up against this is my desk. This is a huge desk, and this was something that I kind of wanted to custom build. So what I did was I basically just built a frame out of 2x4s and 4x4s. Very simply, I just took miter cuts of 4x4s, put them into a square to build some nice legs, and then added 3 2x4s along the top as supports for the desktop that we're going to talk about here in a second. This desk is literally made of scraps that I had lying around after I had to fix the flooring in my house. So literally everything here I already had, all the lumber for the desk. I also had a giant sheet of 3/4 inch plywood, which is what I've used for the top. Now, if you're looking at it here, you can see that doesn't look at all like plywood, and that's because I discovered this interesting technique from, I think it was Modustrial, to build like an accent wall in his house that looks just like concrete, was to take some of Henry's concrete feather finish, which again is something I actually had to use in fixing our floors at our house, so I had a whole lot of it left over. And you basically mix it, 2 parts of the powder to 1 part water, and then you spread it across the top of the tabletop. So I just took this 2-foot by 8-foot sheet of 3/4 inch plywood and covered it with this concrete. I let that dry, and then I sprayed it with a sealant, and you're kind of done. And that's the whole tabletop. So once I had brought this behemoth of the frame down in and put that in place, I took my giant sheet of plywood that now looks like concrete, set it on top, and then just Brad nailed some wooden trim around the outside. This is literally just a super thin piece of trim that I had stained with Min-Max's special walnut stain. Nailed it around the edges to cover up the 2x4s and to cover up the edge of the wood, and you have a pretty cool looking desk. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. Now anyway, to the things that are sitting on top of the desk, first off we have a desk shelf. This is a desk shelf that I also made. I have an entire video about building that desk shelf. It cost me only $30, so if you're interested in that, do click this video up here. I just didn't fancy buying a $500 desk shelf, nor recommending that to you guys. Now, the main monitor sitting up on top of this desk is the 32BL95U. That's the main monitor that I'm using, and it's a really nice monitor, right? It's 4K. I think it's only 60 Hertz, but it's a really nice, high quality panel. I don't use this for gaming. I game at home. I don't game here at the office. So I just needed something that has great color accuracy, is 4K, and can just do a good job for my video work, which is what this main space is used for. And sending signal to that monitor is a Mac Mini. I'm just using the base model M2 Mac Mini. It still can edit almost anything that I throw at it pretty well, and I have that sitting on this nice little walnut mount for it, which I just got off of Amazon for a few dollars, and then that sits on top of a little dock which holds an SSD, and it gives you a whole bunch of ports, including an SD card port, which is just handy as a videographer. I'm always dealing with SD cards, so that just makes things very simple. And I think it looks really nice. I think that's a cool little setup. Slide it right in onto the desk shelf there. Now, as for the keyboard and mouse, these are relatively simple and just sort of a standard equipment. I'm using the Keychron K3, I think it is. It's like the low profile mechanical. It's a really simple little keyboard. I have a really cool sort of Lego keyboard that I use at my gaming setup at home, but for editing, I don't want any sort of super clickety-clackety type of thing. Just a nice simple keyboard, Bluetooth, works really well, and pairing that with the MX Master 3 is a really nice pairing. The MX Master 3 is still a fantastic mouse. It's an incredibly popular mouse for a good reason. As you can see, mine is pretty gross and pretty old because I've used it a whole lot, but it's a fantastic mouse for any editor. If you're doing any sort of editing or productivity work, it's just the best mouse out there because it's got that little side scroll. It's so handy. Definitely go pick one up. And those two things are just sitting on top of a generic Amazon felt mousepad. I think this is by Dawn Trees. Very affordable. It was like 20 bucks max. I think it was probably cheaper than that. And I just didn't want a very big one. I wanted it wide, but not too deep. And this just works great. Now, as for the chair, they say that investing in a high-end chair is worth it, and that's just not something that I had done before. So FlexiSpot reached out and offered to send me their C7 chair. This is not sponsored, and they sent it to me, and they just, I'm allowed to say whatever I want about it. And this is probably the most expensive chair that I've ever owned. I think it's between $200 and $300. This is their C7 model. And I have to say I was skeptical at first because I've seen a lot of people out there recommending chairs that are up in the thousands of dollars, and I just couldn't in good conscience recommend a chair like that because that's just so much money for a chair. And I'm sure it might be worth it to some people. But when FlexiSpot reached out, I thought, you know what, this is kind of like that happy medium point, right? It's not a $50 Amazon chair, but it's not a $2,000 executive chair. So yeah, $200 to $300. It's got really good lumbar support. It's very, very comfortable. I was pretty surprised by the comfort. Now, when I say comfortable, it's not like lounge comfortable. This isn't something that you're going to fall asleep in, but for getting work done, it really has helped with my posture. I feel like I sit up much better as I'm editing. It has every kind of adjustment that you could think of. The arms adjust back and forward, side to side. The back little lumbar support is adjustable. The height is adjustable, obviously. Even the distance of the seat to the back is adjustable. The only thing that's not adjustable is the height of the arms. I could be wrong, but never mind. They are adjustable. You can adjust the pivot of the arms, you can adjust the height of the arms, you can do a whole lot of stuff. And I think at the price point, I think it lands in that good happy medium where you're getting all of the features that you might need of a high-end chair without the thousands of dollars. So take that zero off a lot of other companies and make some decent chairs for normal people who are looking to buy regular chairs. Now, I did decide to go for the one with the footrest. And honestly, I don't recommend it. Don't get the footrest. I'm not even tall, but my feet just dangle off the edge. It's not comfortable. And so save yourself the money and don't get the model with the footrest. I think it saves you about 30 bucks. So that would just be my recommendation, but check out other videos as well and see what other people say. Now, in front of the monitor, I have this iPad. This is an iPad Pro. I think it's the M1, the 12.9 inch. Fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's just really handy. You can use it as a secondary monitor for your Mac Mini, which is really nice, or you can just use it to go, right? I'll just frequently just pack it in my bag and use it as my photo editing workstation. It's very handy. iPads are just great. Definitely recommend picking one up. We also use it here at our church as our keyboard setup, so it's multi-purpose. It's got a lot of uses, and that is being powered by this USB hub, which is actually going to be powering everything on this desk other than the monitor. Everything that can be powered over USB or USB-C is plugged into this little USB hub that I put inside this little shelf. Now, the only other thing of value here that is kind of important are the speakers. The speakers here, I'm using like a Mackie set. They're pretty affordable. I think they're like $100 or less. A lot of times if I'm editing important audio that's not just like vocals like this, I'll use my Sony headphones. I think they're the WH3s, but again, most of the time I'm not really needing them. These just do fine, but I have them on these little risers, little sort of rubber risers here that has them pointing directly at me, just giving you a nice little sort of more clarity and more directional audio. If they're sitting just flat on the desk and pointing at your chest, it's not quite as clear. Elevate your speakers a little bit and it can sound a whole lot better. And those are running into a Volt 1. Now, this is just a really simple little audio device that I think looks really nice. I kind of picked it mainly for the aesthetics. We don't do a whole lot of audio through the computer. Now, the Volt does have an audio input, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, but most of the audio that we do in this space is over on the other side of the room, which is a giant podcast setup that we use for about it's a 4-person podcast, and we've got a big mixer for all of that. So if you're interested in that and you want to see our podcast setup, do just type the word podcast in the comments down below, and that lets me know that you want to see the other half of this YouTube studio. Now, as for a microphone, I don't use a microphone very often at this desk. So what I've done is I took my old blue baby bottle, which is a beautiful little vintage microphone, put it on a little Samsung stand that I got off of Amazon, and I have it set over to the side of the desk more as an accent piece. It just looks really pretty on the desk, especially with the light shining up against it. It looks beautiful. And if I do need to use it, all I have to do is lift it over here, plug it in. Don't really want to have a giant arm built onto the desk at all times, because I really just don't use the microphone very much. Now for visuals, that's where things get a little bit more interesting. So I'm a camera guy. This is like my main thing is cameras and lighting. So clamped onto the end of the desk shelf here, I have this stand. This is just by Small Rig, and it is a light stand, and on the top of this stand it is holding my screen bar. That BenQ make like a screen bar that's like, I think it's like $120 or something like that. But for just $100 you can buy a tube light from Nanlite. This is the Nanlite Pavo Tube T78X. It's their budget version, or T87X, one of the two, and it's only $100. I just have that on this stand, and I clamp it on with a little clamp, plug it into USB-C, and it just stays on all the time. Now the other nice thing is it also is a decent enough quality of light to act as a key light for videos or for conference calls. So on the side of this little stand you can see that I've got another little magic arm clamp also from Small Rig, which I have my Sony ZV-E10 Mark II mounted on, and this is what I use for filming all my shorts and for any sort of conference calls or Zoom calls that I might have with any companies. It's running straight into the computer just by USB-C. Use that as my visual input, and then I use the blue baby bottle as my audio input. So this is what that looks and sounds like. We've got the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II with a Sirui 16mm f1.2 lens. It's a good lens. I really like the image quality, but the autofocus isn't great, so I don't think I'd recommend it. And this is the sound of the blue baby bottle, and I think it looks and sounds great. I think it's a really good pairing, and this has just worked really well for conference calls. For shorts, I'll just flip it vertically and do shorts, and it works great. Now, as I said earlier, we are going to be giving away a Sony ZV-E10, which we're very excited about. We're really thankful for all of you who have subscribed. We've got 10,000 subscribers, almost at 11. I've been a little bit behind on this video, but I'm really grateful to all of you. So all you have to do to be entered into this giveaway is you have to be subscribed to the channel, drop a comment, and leave your Instagram name in the comments. That way, I'll contact you through Instagram. The only Instagram account is this one, and is the one that's connected to my YouTube main page, so that is the only account to look for, and we're going to be picking a giveaway winner at the end of November. So again, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment down below, and leave your Instagram handle. Just that's all you have to do to be entered. If you don't need this camera, then leave somebody else's Instagram handle, maybe somebody who you think would be great to get started at photography or videography, and they'll have everything that they need, a Sony ZV-E10 with the kit lens to get them started. But anyway, the more important thing is, what do you think of this setup? Thoughts? Leave that in the comments down below as well. Another product that I see a lot of people recommend, which is a little wireless phone charger. I've seen a lot of people talk about other companies' ones like Grovemade's and stuff like that. I'm sure they're fantastic, but they're just out of my price point. And this is a really beautiful little walnut style magnetic phone charger. It's got the charger built in. You don't have to buy the Apple one. And it's only like $40 to $45. It sits on the desk, and it's beautiful. I just think it looks really nice. And for the price, I think it's fantastic. So I just stick my phone on there sideways, use that in standby mode as my clock. It just works really well and keeps my phone nice and charged. My only complaint with it is I wish it had some adhesive, or even just a couple of holes. What I might do is actually just drill a couple of holes in that little frame at the bottom so I can mount it onto the desk, because if you just grab your phone too quickly, that stand is coming with it. So that would be my only thing, is I wish that I had some adhesive. Now other than that, you just got to fill up your desk with a couple of little accessories, things that just make the room pop a little bit. So for example, above the light we have some frames just filled with some posters. So lastly, I just got a few plants, fake plants. So there's no windows in this room, even though it looks like there is. This is fake. If you want to know how to do that, check out one of my other videos. Adding some plants and a couple of little accent lights really goes a long way. One of my favorite little accent lights to add is, like you'll see over here on the side, on my desk I added a little USB channel, very simple little power brick added into the desk. And it's got these USB ports, and I got this little sunset light off of Amazon for like $4. And I just plug it in there and it lights up the wall and it looks beautiful. So little details like that just go a long way to making your space and your workspace just kind of look much more appealing. Funny story is, actually, whenever we were installing the desk and we brought it in, I was really concerned about the way that it looked, because I just thought it looked bad. I didn't like the color in the room. The concrete turned out a lot darker than I wanted it to. I was just concerned. But once we added some nice lighting, some greenery, and we turned off the overhead lights, it looks so good. I just absolutely love the way that it is fit into the room. So this is my editing setup and also the background for these YouTube videos. If you like it, let me know in the comments down below. If you hate it, let me know that too. Woodworkers out there who are, you know, intrigued about how I built the desk, don't look at it up close because it looks terrible. But you know what? From a distance, I think it's pretty fun. DIY as much stuff as you can. It's really, really rewarding. Obviously, you can't build your own monitor. Maybe you can, I don't know. But if, you know, buy stuff that you need to buy, but if there are things that you can build it. It's worth it. It's a lot of fun. I had a great time building and setting up this desk setup. But that's about all I have for this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on this down below in the comments. And while you're down there, do check out in the description. I have everything linked down below. Those are affiliate and that really helps out the channel. If you've enjoyed this video, do let me know in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed it, or maybe even subscribe as we continue to build this channel. I appreciate all of you for doing so, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.